It goes together.
Thank you.
Father, it's good to come into this place tonight to conduct the business here of this city. And I pray, Father, for each and every one of the council people that you would give them the wisdom and give them the insight to do the things that are right and pleasing unto you. Father, thank you for every good gift comes from you. And Lord, we acknowledge today that you are a sovereign God, that you're in control, and that you are the one that establishes government. And I pray that this county and this city would be one that will continue to look to you and trust you and follow you as long as we are here. So we've been given a great assignment, and I pray you bless these men and women right now. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, Mike Peavy is the pastor at Gratis Church. His family walks the walk. Both kids work at Chick-fil-A. Just great, great folks. Thank you so much for coming in. And you don't have to stick around if you don't want to. I'll call this meeting to order of the Monroe City Council, May 12th, 2026. It's just a tad past 6 p.m. Let the record reflect that all members of council are present. Most in person. I think Mr. Thompson is on the phone. Greg, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
All right, thank you for joining us. I need a motion to approve the agenda, please.
So moved.
Give that to Mr. Bradley. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Crawford. Is there any discussion? Signify by saying aye if approved.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Motion carries. That passes. The consent agenda this month includes the Planning Commission minutes, DDA minutes, and CVB minutes, along with historic preservation from March and the April 14th, 2026 City Council meeting. I need a motion for the approval of the consent agenda, please.
So moved.
Thank you, Ms. Malcolm. Is there a second? Thank you, Ms. Sams. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Motion carries. That passes. Moving to public comment, I have Ms. Wilson. Appears to not be here. We'll try to revisit her at the end. Theodore Wright, neighborhood code issue. Mr. Wright, come forward, please, if you don't mind. And you're at 538 Chestnut?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Well, I thank y'all for allowing me this opportunity to present my case to y'all today. The issue that I'm having, or that has arrived probably around 2 months ago, the crowd that used to gather at the little truck stop area on the weekends, well, sadly, that crowd now is conjoining right there off of Chestnut, Church Street, East Church Street. It's called a Chestnut Cupboard Store. Mm-hmm. And Chestnut Lane, my house is right behind it. The store, when the problem happened, the store owner started allowing the gathering, these young youth, to gather at the store and pretty much have like a little field day. They race their cars up and down the street. They turn up the volume to their music. And it starts every weekend around maybe 12 to 2:30, 3 o'clock, every weekend.
In the morning.
In the morning. They leave the stadium and they come to Chestnut Cupboard Store. when the problem first occurred, because anybody knows me, I'm not just Theodore Wright, I'm Minister Wright.
Right.
So I try to deal with my community before I come here. I try to deal with it firsthand. So I went to the store owner or the person who runs the store, and I spoke with him personally. And I told him, I said, Mr. Nick, I say, I don't know what you're allowing to occur at your store, but it is becoming a nuisance, not only to my home, but to some of the other homes in the community. We can't even get into our subdivision on times. Last Saturday, we was out of town. We get a phone call. Y'all may want to get home quick because you won't even be able to get into your own driveway. They literally start parking into my yard like it was a public parking lot. And I don't know if y'all know how y'all run the water lines. Well, my main water line runs right on the side in the front of my property. They literally parks. They're smart enough to know how to park enough so it's not a code issue where they're in the street. So they literally park into my yard. So on 4 occasions, I called law enforcement, told them that we was having a trespassing issue. Law enforcement came out, told me, Mr. Wright, the only thing we can do is we can tell them that they may need to leave your yard, but you have to call a tow truck at your expense. That's what surprised me. So somebody can park in my yard, and then at my expense, I have to get them towed. That made no sense to me. So the officers literally stood out front of my house for about 30 minutes while I called the tow truck. But the traffic was so congested that the tow truck driver couldn't even get through. And by the time the crowd saw the tow truck coming, they start running to their cars. And the reason that I'm presenting it to you is because there's no doubt in my mind, the problem that you was having at that restaurant up there at the truck stop is gonna eventually trickle more into your city, like a cancer. And I told a lot of my neighbors, I said, because a lot of people rent. It's only a couple owners that live out there. But like I told them, just because you're a renter doesn't mean you don't have a voice. Because while you're a tenant on whatever lease that you signed, you have the right to speak up and let people know that they don't have the right to just violate your space. So I came here today to first bring it to your attention because I don't know if when I call in to 911, if it's being reported to you all, because just like back in the days, I like to do my homework. When you combine commercial and residential and you bring them too closely entwined, you're gonna have issues. Just like I went and did my homework on Will Tavern back in April in 2024. When you get people that start mixing cocktails with dinner dates, you're gonna have issues eventually because everybody don't know how to contain themselves. Some people don't know how to cut it off. And back in then, you had what they call a noise and behavior complaint back in April in 2024. I don't know how that was dealt with. In January of 2025, you had another complaint at the same establishment because you have residential and commercial so closely intertwined. If the hours of operation exceeds a certain time frame, it's gonna trickle down to other people's home that lives close to that area. And that's what I'm having in my area. When you have a business that at one time used to close at 11:30, maybe possibly 12 o'clock to the latest, now is a 24-hour operation. So now the people that doesn't mind hanging out at night, they look at that as a gathering spot. You could go on social media, and if you pull up anything dealing with Chestnut Cupboard, I guarantee you're gonna read comments that reads, oh, go to the neighborhood club. Chestnut has become our local club spot. That's what you're gonna read. And when you start having, we used to have problems randomly when they would lease out the fairgrounds. You're gonna have some people, not all. See, somebody like me, law-abiding citizens, if I know I'm coming to the fairgrounds for an event, I don't mind paying the budget or the price to park because that's what comes with the event. But you have some people who, to avoid that expense, they're gonna find wherever, whenever they can park, even if it comes at your expense. Parking in front of your yard, in front of your driveway. And when you're dealing with...
I'm sorry, you hit the 5 minutes. But point is very well taken. I think Lee and I talked about this Saturday night, because they were parking down Church Street too. I didn't know, it's not a surprise, but I didn't know it was back in the neighborhood. I just thought it was all down Church Street.
No,
Do you mind writing your phone number down?
Oh, no.
We'll get together, you and I.
All right.
Give this to you right here. Write your number down, and I will call you tomorrow, and maybe you and the chief and I can get together and try to set a time to talk more. And if you don't mind, probably going to ask you to give the invocation later in the summer. All right? We'll set it up. All right. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming in. Ms. Wilson, you ready for me?
Yes, I'm sorry, y'all. Good. Good evening, everyone. Let me get my speech out. I ran over here just in case it wasn't too late. Good evening.
Thank you for
Rep.
Thank you for
Get
coming.
one, WON. Thank y'all for having me. This is the final piece for the grant funding request for long-term stability at home and work for Music is Medicine and Money. Finally, number 3, money, economy, state versus status. State, from USA Facts. Why is the US dollar so strong? The dollar's value comes from the United States' position as a critical global economic power and country's political and economic stability. Like any other flat currency, the dollar's value depends on the economic activity and outlook of the United States. Status. Why is money referred to as booty? From W.L. Walker, written in the International Standard Bible Encyclopedia, booty is the translation usually rendered P-R-E-Y, prey, and spoil of the American version, to gain. Booty respects what is of personal service to the captor and whatever served to designate his triumph. Prey includes whatever gratifies the appetite and is to be consumed. Persons for slaves, etc., might be part of the booty. Captives or cattle or objects of value taken in war. Where did the term booty come from? It is a slang that has surprisingly old origins in the book of Numbers found in the Bible of David. Afterwards introduced a regulation that the baggage guard should share the booty casually with the soldiers engaged in battle. He also devoted the spoils of war for the temple. State versus status. Thesis statement. Request for breakthrough change as means of healthcare protection. ASAP. Grant funding for home and work long-term stability with personal business presentation as an inspirational songwriter seeking occupational expansion for as a solid foundation in other areas of potential ability, i.e. real estate and agriculture. As remedy concerning 35 years of being trafficked for sex within a religious household of incest, poverty, and disease. Closing. A martyr is a witness who willingly dies for their faith, believing in a rewarding life after death. A miracle is an extraordinary experience or event that is attributed to a divine power. C.S. Lewis says, miracles are a retelling in small letters of the very same story which is written across the world in letters too large for some of us to see. DeGrip, get one. God bless y'all. Thanks for waiting for me and have a great evening.
Thank you, Joy. I appreciate you coming in. Have a good night.
Y'all too.
Lonnie Gaston? Thank you for coming in.
How y'all doing tonight? I come on the,
I'm sorry, if you don't mind, would you take your hat off, please? Thank you.
how y'all doing? I come on the behalf of Green Acres. I'm here to find out, what is we gonna try to do for the neighbors in Green Acres so that we can get out? I have appointments at the VA hospital. My appointment be at 9 o'clock in the morning. I had to leave Green Acres about 6:30 in the morning just to try to get out on Highway 11 so I can make it to my appointment in Atlanta. Sometimes it takes anywhere from 30 to 45 minutes to get out that neighborhood.
To get out of the neighborhood
Yes,
on 11?
on 11. Because for the simple reason, you got a traffic light up there by Bojangles. The traffic coming from Wanda, it builds up from that traffic light all the way down there past Bow Spring Road. If you trying to get out that subdivision, you can't get out, you can't go left, you can't go right. We had to sit there, either put our life in jeopardy and just try to break in and see can we get in without getting hurt. A lot of those folks in Green Acres, they senior citizens.
Right,
They don't drive that fast.
I said the
right.
only hard issue is that Green Acres is
Green Acres is county,
technically in the county.
but it's also a state road.
Yeah, let me do this. It is in the county. Let me reach out to the county manager, my counterpart, and see if they can request some sort of traffic evaluation study with GDOT on 11, because I agree, it's pretty rough right there. I've seen it myself. But I'll at least try to advocate for y'all with the county.
Okay.
But
All right, thank
if you don't
you.
hear anything, follow up with them as well.
Okay, thank you very much.
Hey, thank you, Lonnie, for coming in. John Ward is the county manager, so we'll be in touch with him and stay in touch with us, okay? Thank you. Lisa Pascal, I'm not sure if I said the name correct. Okay. Thank you for coming in.
Good afternoon, City Council.
Good afternoon.
My name is Lisa Pascal. I'm from the Green Acres subdivision, the one he was just speaking about. It is to my understanding that Quick Trip plans to put a basin detention pond on our properties. My neighborhood, Green Acres, was established with the first house being built in 1993. At that time, there were no strict storm weather regulations, so we don't have storm drains or catch basins. If Quick Trip is allowed easement onto Louise Drive, which is where I live, this will cause flooding of our homes if there is a major rainstorm. As you may all be aware, flooding is not uncommon in Georgia. Most recently, DeKalb County, Carroll County, and Fannin County. Flooding would cause undue, catastrophic financial hardship on our community, and there would be no way for us to replace our homes. We don't carry flood insurance because we're not in a flood zone. There would be no way to replace our homes. So should there be a major flooding, FEMA would classify Green Acres as a flood zone, and it would be mandatory that we carry flood insurance, another expense to us. So who's going to replace our homes if they get flooded? I believe that Quick Trip, I don't believe that Quick Trip would. I just don't believe that my city that I love so much, Monroe, Georgia, would allow this to happen to its citizens. Another concern is our home values would most certainly decline. No one wants to live in an area with high traffic, congestion, like the big cities, increased noise, bright lights shining 24 hours a day in our backyards, and pollution. These factors reduce desirability and marketability of our homes. Who's gonna wanna buy it? We're gonna be stuck. There could also be environmental effects. We have safety concerns as well with being able to get out of our neighborhood now that there is a projected 27,400 trips daily on Georgia Highway 11. This is likely to cause an escalation in car accidents. And what of our elderly who still drive? and trying to get out of that neighborhood on a daily basis. There is only one traffic light, like the young man just said, that's at Bojangles. Then there's the element of vagrants and vagabonds hanging around, which possesses a much higher risk of crime. We aren't opposed to the direction that Monroe wants to go in with its growth and expansion. That's wonderful. I love to see our city growing. We just feel that we shouldn't be affected by it. My neighborhood, Green Acres, specifically my street, Louise Drive. Quick Trip is a $24 billion privately held company, and they could choose to go anywhere in Monroe that they want to. What about the other two options that they had? Why a neighborhood? Why disrupt a long-standing, stable neighborhood with growing families? I don't understand that. For the majority of us, Green Acres is our first home and our last home. I myself had never purchased a home on my own until I recently became a widow, and I could not afford the home that we were living in. But after 5 years, I was able to purchase my own home. Green Acres is home for me. My neighbor, Miss Clara, had been a renter for 19 years, and she was finally able to achieve the dream of home ownership. We just want to live in peace and enjoy our homes and our families. I pray that each member of the City Council will put yourselves in our shoes and consider the threat that QC brings to us losing our homes that we've worked so hard for. I pray that you make a wise decision concerning the citizens of Monroe, particularly Green Acres. What an awesome privilege you've been given, that you can change the lives of your citizens. I bless you all in Jesus' name.
Thank you so much for coming in, Ms. Pascal, and I'm very sorry for your loss. To let you know, the QT project is it's zoned for a gas station, right? But we'll take every precaution to make sure your property is protected in every way we possibly can legally.
How so? Please explain.
Well, I'm not going to say you can go build a pond on somebody else's property, but the way things are already zoned, as long as they behave in a manner according with our zoning guidelines, it's by right to put a station there.
Well, there is a conditional use on the agenda.
Right.
There are several stipulations that we have to dive into when we consider that matter later.
But we will be considering it. I just don't want to say there'll never be a gas station there.
I didn't expect that.
So
I just don't want them coming in and destroying our neighborhood and flooding our homes. We're not rich people.
we'll
We
be as
can't replace
protective
those
as we
homes.
possibly legally can.
I appreciate your time,
Yes, ma'am.
each one of you.
Thank you for coming in. Mike, I appreciate your sitting here. You don't have to, but the next person up is pretty impressive. I think we have Development Authority next, correct? I know, sorry, Dessa. This is a public presentation. I probably should have gone over this before we started. That has to be scratched from the agenda because Ms. Calabrese had some surgery yesterday, and we'll be replacing that next month. Moving to workforce development update, Ms. Morris. Thank you, Dessa. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. I'm proud to share a very brief update on the impact of Walton Works, part of the Development Authority of Walton County. In 2025, as you'll see, a year marked by strong partnerships, growing engagement, and meaningful workforce connections across our community. This past year, Walton Works reached more than 4,800 participants through workforce and career initiatives. More than 1,600 eighth graders from both school districts, Walton County and Social Circle, participated in Be Pro, Be Proud, exposing every local eighth grade student to Georgia's high-demand careers. Our Career Expo, in partnership with the Walton Chamber, connected more than 560 high school juniors and seniors with local employers and career pathways. We've also expanded hands-on career experiences through public safety and construction tours, giving more than 300 participants a first-hand look at career opportunities right here in Monroe and Walton County. One of the most impactful efforts continues through Workforce Wednesday, which welcomed more than 1,100 attendees through job fairs and monthly workforce events. I want to give a special thank you to the City of Monroe for being an incredible partner in this initiative. The city opened its doors early on, helped create a welcoming environment, and demonstrated a true commitment to helping residents connect with jobs, resources, and hope. Because of this success, between the City of Monroe, Walton County, WorkSource Northeast Georgia, the Monroe Walton Library, and the Department of Community Supervision, the Workforce Wednesday model is now being replicated in other communities across Georgia. Our online jobs board also continues to grow, generating more than 8,600 views from individuals seeking local employment opportunities. In addition, Walton Works continues expanding educator and industry partnerships, engaged local teachers in externships, and shared Walton County's workforce story through presentations at the local, state, and national level. More importantly, this work continues to strengthen the pipeline between education, workforce development, and economic opportunity for our residents. Thank you again to the mayor and the council, and especially the HR team, for your continued partnership and support. We are grateful for the City of Monroe's leadership and commitment to building a stronger workforce for our community.
Thank you, Ms. Morris. Stay right there. Does anybody have any questions about our Workforce Wednesdays, how we're doing with our high school students, our pipeline to college, to employment? Anyone? I'll tell you this, Les and I was about to say, okay, thank you.
Sorry.
I was going to say Les and his whole team, because there's a group of folks behind them, but I think Sarah kind of takes the reins mainly. But Les, getting that started with you really is taking on a mind of its own, and it's been great. I'm looking at a 44% increase in the tax digest over the last 4 years. That's $968 million that goes to benefit the residents of Walton County and our schools. So thank you for everything that y'all do. It's impressive every time we talk about it.
Thank you. It's great. Thanks to good partners like you guys. Shout out to Chris Bailey for getting us more people at Workforce Wednesday when we try to slack off. And just everyone here for their help and support. So thank you.
Thank you. I have a, thank you, Dessa. Okay, now, Mike's gone. Shane and Dessa, anybody who doesn't want to stick around, you don't have to stick around. It won't hurt my feelings if you leave while I'm reading proclamations. This is first is a proclamation for Foster Care Awareness Month in the City of Monroe. Whereas children and youth in foster care face significant challenges due to abuse, neglect, or family crises, and depend on the support and compassion of their communities. And whereas foster care provides a safe temporary home for children while families work toward reunification or other permanent solutions, and every child deserves a stable, nurturing environment in which to grow. And whereas the City of Monroe recognizes the resilience, strength, and potential of youth in foster care and the importance of ensuring their voices are heard and their needs are met, and whereas foster parents, relative caregivers, volunteers, advocates, and child welfare professionals work tirelessly to provide safety, stability, and hope to children in care, and whereas court-appointed special advocates, CASA volunteers, make a profound difference by advocating for the best interests of children in foster care, helping to ensure they find safe, permanent homes for more quickly and successfully, and whereas community involvement is essential to supporting children and families impacted by foster care whether through volunteering, fostering, mentoring, or raising awareness, and whereas National Foster Care Awareness Month provides an opportunity to recognize the important role individuals and organizations play in improving the lives of children in foster care and to encourage greater community engagement. Now therefore be it resolved that I, John S. Howard, Mayor of the City of Monroe, do hereby declare May 26th of let's try this again. May 2026 is Foster Care Awareness Month in Walton County, and urges all residents to volunteer their time and talents on behalf of children in foster care and to support and recognize the commitment of foster families and professional staff who work with these children and youth. John S. Howard, Mayor of the City of Monroe. Lindsay? I think many of you may remember Lindsay Dykes. Would you like to say anything?
Good evening. How is everyone?
Well,
Great, thank you.
Thank you guys so much for having us, for doing the proclamation, and for believing in our kids that are in foster care in Walton County. We are working really hard to make sure every kid has a CASA volunteer, and we appreciate the awareness that this will bring. So thank you.
Thank you for coming in. Does anybody have questions for Lindsay? I was at the Savannah Banana Games over the weekend. I think Logan was as well, and they have Bananas Foster. They raised $120,000 this weekend for foster care in the state of Georgia. So Mr. Cole and the Savannah Banana Organization have to be, at the top of the list for what they're doing for our kids. So hopefully you're seeing a benefit. Would you like this?
Yes, I would. Thank you.
You want to turn around and give a big smile? Next, moving to the proclamation of Public Works Week for the City of Monroe. Our Public Works team is fantastic, and I know that you see the work that they put in every single day, but just to have them, they're just pros, and we're lucky that they're part of our team. Whereas Public Works professionals focus on infrastructure, facilities, and services that are of vital importance of sustainable and resilient communities into public health, high quality of life, and well-being of the people of Georgia. And whereas these infrastructure facilities and services could not be provided without the dedicated efforts of Public Works professionals who are engineers, managers, and employees at all levels of government and the private sector who are responsible for rebuilding, improving, and protecting our nation's streets and transportation, water, wastewater treatment and services, natural gas utilities, electrical utilities and systems, telecommunications, stormwater infrastructure and safekeeping, solid waste systems, aviation operations, parks, grounds, public facilities and buildings, and other structures and facilities essential for our citizens. And whereas it is in the public interest for the citizens, civic leaders, and children in Georgia to gain knowledge of and maintain an ongoing interest in understanding of the importance of Public Works and Public Works programs in their respective communities, and whereas the year 2026 marks the 66th annual National Public Works Week sponsored by the American Public Works Association. And now therefore be it resolved that I, John S. Howard, Mayor of the City of Monroe, do hereby declare May 17th through 23rd, 2026 as Public Works Week, in witness whereof I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the City of Monroe to be affixed this 12th day of May, the year of our Lord, 2026. John S. Howard. Okay, thank you. Proclamation from Monroe Country Day School has been moved to Tuesday of next week. Business items, Mr. Probst.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple of updates for you on taxation issues and legislation. We've talked a lot about it as we move through the Gold Dome session this year, but all of this culminates, of course, with the county tax appraiser sending out property tax assessment notices that then lead to the tax bills later on in the year. So I have an email from about a week ago from Tommy Knight, the chief appraiser, who said he was targeting May 12 today of sending out all appraisals a little bit later than normal. So keep an eye on your mailbox to see if those are coming out. With all of the changes through the Gold Dome over the last 2 years, specifically House Bill 581, It forced the DOR to change forms at the last minute, so nevertheless, everything is kind of backed up about as far as it can go. So as a reminder, we are still operating under House Bill 746 from last year, that piece of local legislation sponsored by Representative Williamson, that basically locks us into 2024 values, right? Plus a little bit of CPI for existing homes. And then any new growth on top of that will just be new growth on our tax digest. So don't know what that's going to look like until probably late June, my guess, early July. So then we're going to have to really go through some heavy assessments internally, just analyses to see where we should land on the millage rate. And we're going to have a very short timeline to do it, probably in August. So really, I'm looking at 2 or 3 weeks of trying to decide where we're going to go since everything is so far backed up. So that's that. And then, of course, Senate Bill 33, this was the property tax relief bill that was just signed by the governor, I think, yesterday. And so we're going to evaluate that with the county. That allows us to get a flossed floating local option sales tax that will replace some of the lost revenues from that bill. And so what that will entail is a few different steps that we have to do: a resolution, then a referendum countywide. If that passes, then we get into an intergovernmental agreement with county on how we're going to split those proceeds. That's always fun. But that is the path we're probably tracking on right now. Any questions on all that fun stuff?
Thank you, Logan. Are there any questions for Mr. Probst?
Any chance we get a home rule with that?
I think this supersedes the home rule argument that was we tried for throughout the session. So,
Yeah, we tried. We tried. It was a rough legislative session for us. Mr. Bailey, you ready?
Yes, sir. I'll keep it fairly quick. Our Georgia Outdoor Steward Program, Phase 2, we completed all of the environmentals that were due April 30th. Those are submitted to the Department of Natural Resources. We're working on, I guess, what you would call Part B of Phase 2, which is due by May 30th, and I feel like we should have all of that submitted by this Friday. That includes updated budgets, phase concepts, and different financial documents that we'll have to do to go through the grant process. The next time we probably talk about this will be sometime in August, September, at which point we'll have to approve an agreement with the Department of Natural Resources for the $3 million grant, and then our $1.1 million contribution to that as a match. And then we have 24 months to build all of that in Phase 1. So that will be a very tall order, but we will get it done. So exciting project, looks great. This week, or let's see, it would have been last week, we found out that we were awarded, in addition to our LMIG funds this year, and then last year, we received additional LRA funds. So this year, we've been awarded an additional $255,000 in LRA funds to go towards the paving of additional streets in the city. At which point, we're going through figuring out what's next, what's top priority on that list, and what fits within that funding. The only other thing I've got, our farmers market has now been open the last 2 Saturdays. I believe I misspoke last month on the start date, but we opened up on May 2nd. We've had busy Saturdays the last 2 weekends. We had the Mother's Day event this past Saturday, so we've been a little over 10,000 people in town during that span of time each Saturday. And then tomorrow, should you be in downtown, we have a new event that we're kicking off, Lunch on the Lawn, which will be on the courthouse lawn. We'll have a little small band playing, and then some of the local restaurants will have lunch to go. So you can grab that and go sit on the lawn from 11:30 to 1:30 and enjoy what should be a pretty day because it does not rain anymore. So love to see you there.
Does anybody have any questions for Chris? Thank you, Mr. Bailey. Next, under new business, Paul, please correct me if I'm wrong. I have public hearings, A, B, and A and B regarding the Quick Trip potential property. They've asked for that to be tabled. Do we need to do the public hearing anyway?
So they asked for it to be tabled. It's been advertised for a public hearing. I'd let Brad weigh in on this. It would need to be re-advertised if you don't conduct your public hearing tonight, and then you could consider the tabling. They've asked for it to be tabled to the next meeting, I believe, June.
Yeah, Mr. Eberhard, their attorney, asked for it to be considered at the.
And the applicant's not present here tonight.
Yeah, the applicant's not present. So if you're going to consider a tabling, you're gonna, I didn't process it. I think you're gonna need to re-advertise it.
Sure.
Yeah, you're gonna need to re-advertise it, and I just don't know about your dates of making, making that advertisement, before your June meeting. You should be able to though, right?
Yeah, we have plenty of time to make
Okay,
this advertisement.
yeah, so yes, you don't have to have the public hearing since you're gonna conduct a public hearing via re-advertisement this evening. Now, what normally you would do is if there's anybody who wouldn't be able to be here at the, at the June meeting, you can give them an opportunity to speak briefly if you'd like, but you're gonna need to re-advertise it if you end up moving it to June.
Okay, I do, because I know we did have a comment about QT, and if you can't make it next month and you'd like to say something, now's your time. Okay, I'll need a motion to table, please. I have a motion by Ms. Sims and a second. Second, Ms. Brown. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Motion carries, that passes, and that was for the conditional use and the hardship variance, or do I need to?
No, that's for both items. For both items affecting 1110 North Broad Street, item number 10, 11, and effectively 19 and 20 for the quick trip will be tabled to the June meeting.
Okay, perfect, thank you. Moving to the regulating plan amendment, 4554-308 West Highland Avenue. Brad?
Thank you, Mayor. This is a request for a regulating plan amendment that is also in conjunction with the next item on your agenda, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to present them both at the same time.
Yes, sir, please.
All right, this is both a regulating plan amendment and a special exception variance for the same property. The regulating plan amendment is for this property here. This is 308 West Highland Avenue. They're asking for a change from the character-based code CD4 designation to CD3. The CD4 designation is a little bit more intense than the lighter CD3. CD4 is designated as neighborhood center. It allows for both a mix of residential and commercial uses. CD3 is a little lighter. It does allow for some commercial, but predominantly it's residential uses. So they're asking for a CD3 change to their property as a regulating plan amendment. And what this would do is allow them to, what they're proposing to do is build one single-family home, essentially. And this character-based code change would allow them to build the home and avoid a host of variances that would be required into the CD4 character-based code designation. So the only thing that they are asking in addition to this, looks like we lost some slides there. Now here's the, well, let me jump to this real quick. This is the proposed home as part of this regulating plan amendment. See the sides here, and the Planning Commission recommendation for the regulating plan amendment was approval as submitted. And the reason being is that you can see the adjoining character codes, the character designations that are adjoining this property on Walton Street are also CD3, and properties just to the west of this site are single-family in nature. So are the ones on the east of the site are large single-family homes, and they're not out of character with the request. So Planning Commission staff both did not have an issue with the proposed regulating plan amendment change. So the recommendation to the council is approval as submitted. All right, so the special exception variance, somewhat straightforward. This is the only thing that's necessary. This is in your special exception variance realm. It's one of your 7 that you can request from the city, and this is to extend the maximum lot width. This was added to your special exception catalog because of anticipation of the possibility that someone may need a character-based code change for their lot width. This is one of those. So the maximum lot width in CD3 is 100 feet. If you are to grant the CD3 character-based code regulating plan amendment, he will need a special exception variance to allow the existing lot as it is to be 132 feet. So they can build the single-family home that's there. And what CD3 would want is really to subdivide the property into 2 lots, because the CD4 would actually require them to do 4 up to a minimum of 3. So he's asking for that maximum lot width, so we're not going to force him to subdivide the property in at least one time. And the planning commission recommendation on that request was approval as submitted. That's all that I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Brad, I appreciate it. Before moving to the public hearing portion, Ned, would you like to? Well, I'm sorry, I didn't know, I don't know, Karen. I thought you were the rep. Could you can come forward or not? Thank you for coming in. And your name?
My name is Karen Tsai, representing Reliant Homes
Yes, ma'am.
at 200 Michael Hutchison Road, Monroe, Georgia. And as stated, we are looking to build one larger single-family home to better suit the characteristics and the aesthetics of the existing homes on West Highland Avenue. Also, the topo poses an issue to do more than one unit, so we would like to keep it as one unit. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Are there any questions? I think this is going to be pretty easy, but I at least wanted to give you the opportunity. What we'll do is the public hearing, and then we'll come back and vote in a few more minutes, okay? I'll declare this portion of the public meeting open for the purpose of public input. Is there anyone here who would like to speak in favor of the special exception variance 4555 or the regulating plan amendment 4554? Hearing none, is there anyone here who'd like to speak against the hardship variant, the regulating plan amendment or the special exception variance at 308 West Highland Avenue? Hearing none, I'll declare that portion of the meeting closed. We'll come back and visit in just a minute. You won't even have to get up. Thank you. Moving to the rezone at 4547 1035 East Spring Street, rezone from R1 to B2. Mr. Callender?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and similar to what just occurred, I would like to present this item along with the following 4 agenda items, if that would please the mayor. They are all in conjunction with the same project.
That would be great, please.
Okay, this is 5 requests for city council, a rezone, 3 special exception variances and a hardship variance, and I'm going to jump into the details of those, but I'm going to explain them just briefly and not spend a lot of time hashing all these out. Okay, the first request to city council this evening is a rezone from R1 to B2. Council may be familiar with this property. This is on the eastern leg there of East Spring Street, right before the interchange of Highway 78. It was rezoned to R1 a few years back, and the applicant is asking to rezone this back to B2. They recently purchased the property. They would like to match that zoning with their existing property. What they're proposing to do is expand that the parking of their existing church facility, and they want some additional parking for that. So they want to combine that parcel in. It would make the zoning compliant with each parcel if they were both the same, so the rezone is going to make that jive together. The Planning Commission did recommend that rezone approval subject to 3 conditions. The 3rd condition was modified at the Planning Commission meeting. It was rather lengthy, so if you're seeing your staff report, it was modified at the Planning Commission meeting just to say a landscape plan was submitted. Moving on to the special exception variance, the first one, this was dealing with an increase in maximum lot coverage. This is a special exception variance type. They were trying to figure out how many special exception variances they could ask for. We told them not all of them, but they did ask for 3. So just this is just one that's pretty straightforward. It's only a 1% increase in your max lot coverage. They're only going to impact the property by a little more than 4,000 square feet above our maximum, which is not much. This is not a detrimental impact to the public, and it's also one that you can allow by special exception. Recommendation. Slide to move forward there. Planning Commission recommendation was approval as submitted. Special exception, the second one, this deals with an increase in parking. You see this pretty often with our parking standards. In this case, there is a lot of parking being added, so they're increasing it from the maximum 120% to 187%. Obviously, here on the plan you see before you, there's a lot of parking being added. It is a church, so they are asking for a lot for their congregation to be able to visit the site during their services. They are proposing to also add another facility to the site. This is one of the reasons why they need the parking. So the total proposed number of spaces they need will end up being 393 spaces. and they're allowed 230 by our current standards. So this is just an increase that's basically slightly above our maximum from 120% to 187%. This is not a really egregious request here. They have the space in the land and capacity now if they are granted the rezone to allow it. Moving forward there, the Planning Commission recommended approval as submitted. The third special exception variance. It deals with a very minor issue here on the front of the property. Let me get the slide to advance there. It is a small section of the front of the property that exists in front of the existing building. This is for dealing with your corridor design overlay district. It requires a minimum 20-foot landscape buffer. It's only 6 feet wide in the front. Well, we can't make them do 20 feet unless they tear out some parking spaces. So they need a variance granted by council, so we're not forcing them to do something they can't do. And they would need a variance granted by council to allow the 6-foot wide buffer instead of 20. Planning Commission recommendation there was approval as submitted. And finally, there's a hardship variance proposed. It's the relief from the 42 feet of pavement depth in your corridor design overlay district. And obviously, with the existing configuration of the property, with it being a grocery store that was developed some number of years ago that predated your corridor design overlay district standards, it would be basically difficult to require the church to encumber those standards and move the building or do something obviously ridiculous to accommodate our standards there. So this is a true hardship variance. This is not something that the church is creating. So they need the variance to move forward and to allow basically any sort of permitting on the site to allow the parking. Staff did support the request in our report and noted that the condition itself was not being created by the applicant. And obviously, the ability to move the building would be something that would be not possible. So the Planning Commission recommendation approval recommendation was approval as submitted. So that was all 5 of the requests. A move to a planned commercial district or some other type of planned district was not really the most viable option when we reviewed this request. So the 3 variances, the 3 special exception variances, and the hardship variance, along with a rezone, were really the best path forward that we had to consider for the church. But those are all the presentations for the 5 requests, Mayor. That's
Thank you, Mr. Calendar. Are there any questions for Brad? Any comments? Well, I have 1025 Church here. Tommy, you want to come forward and say anything? Nick?
I do. Nick Chambers is our executive pastor. He has been working at our other campus today. He kind of came out of the attics today. He's an electrician, and so he said, hey, I'm coming like I am. And then Don Parker, many of you know, both of these folks are just, they grew up in Monroe. And so as a matter of fact, I'm going to be very brief. Our chief of police and Don and Nick were on the pastor search team that called me here 13 years ago. And so I was smart, so I hired 2 of them, and we just hadn't hired him yet. But it's kind of neat and how this has happened. So our need, and Brad, I want to thank you for working with us. I really do. Thank you so much, because our need is we've grown so much. And so in 2018, when we moved into the facility, we were running about 300, 280, 290. Now we're running on any given Sunday, we're averaging about 900 on that campus, and plus a couple of hundred on the other campus in Statham. And so for a church, it just requires a lot of parking. It's different than anything else. Some of you guys have attended our church, and when you come to our church, we have multiple services. We do a lot of events. As a matter of fact, the Monroe Area High School baseball team is at our church tonight doing a baseball banquet. And so we just want to really be able to enhance the city. We think it's going to look really good coming into the city when we finish with this project. Brad, we are going to move up, as you know, the pavilion there, or for the bus area, that'll be moved up to kind of put us closer to the what you require. We're going to work hard to do that, and certainly we'll make sure that the landscaping is good, and we just want to make sure that you know how much we appreciate you, and we're bought into Monroe, Georgia. We're in the schools, we're in the housing authorities, and God is blessing our church, and the reason why is we love God and we love people, and we're always alive at 1025.
Thank you, Tommy. Okay, If it's okay with you, Paul, we're going to do this all as in one fell swoop. Is that okay?
Yeah, you can have a public hearing as to all items, just open it up as to all one,
Okay,
two,
and I
three,
guess
four,
to
five
make it
items.
official, this is for rezone number 4547 at 1035 East Spring Street, rezone from R1 to B2. Special exception variance 4548, also at 1025 and 1035 East Spring Street, maximum lot coverage. Special exception variance 4549, 1025 and 1035 East Spring Street for increased parking. Special exception variance number 4550, 1025 East Spring Street to reduce the requirement of the 20-foot landscape buffer. And hardship variance number 4551, 1025 and 1035 East Spring Street, seeking relief from section 643A.3B, maximum pavement depth. That being said, I'll declare this portion of the meeting open for the purpose of public input. Is there anyone here who would like to speak in favor of any of these points? Is there anyone here who'd like to speak against any of these points? Hearing none, I'll declare that portion of the meeting closed. And we will move to, got a lot of sections here. Hardship, plan amendments.
You'll move to new business number 21.
I know.
Okay,
I gotta find it.
okay.
New business 21. Okay, for the conditional use that we tabled, right?
No, that's, after that, regulating plan amendment,
Regulating plan amendment.
4554.
Okay. We're moving to regulating plan amendment 4554 and special exception variance 4555. I will open this up for council to ask any questions of Brad. It's council only. Or,
I'd just like to say that I am excited about this request and really would love to know how that one piece of property in the heart of that community and that residential section became zoned for anything other than one house or two houses at most.
I have no idea, because I tried to buy it 20 years ago, and Knox said absolutely, absolutely I couldn't put a house there. So I don't think anybody has an answer, because we're all
Well, I mean, that was
young.
just an edge piece of the character-based code. So, I mean, its proximity to the downtown core drew it into that denser character district.
It seems like it's spot zoning in a sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it
Because
does.
of what's surrounding it, but I'm thrilled to see this come before us.
So do you want to make the motion?
I'll be glad to make the motion to approve both.
I have a motion on the floor by Ms. Malcolm. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Bradley. Are there any questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Motion carries. The regulating plan amendment and special exception variance both pass. Thank you, Karen. It's very nice to meet you. Appreciate y'all's coming in. Moving to the rezone at 1035 East Spring Street, 4547, 4548, 4549, 4550, and 4551. Are there any questions for Brad? Is anybody going to have heartburn about making one motion in a fell swoop for all of them, or do you want to take anything individually?
I'd be happy to make a motion on behalf of all items.
Thank you, Mr. Bradley. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Dickinson. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Motion carries. That passes. Thank you. Move to the application for package license for beer and wine at Express Limited Liability Corp. Mr. Rosenthal, is that in order?
Yes, Mayor, that application is in order.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Are there any questions for Paul? I'll entertain a motion, please. Thank you, Ms. Sams. Is there a second?
Second.
Give that one to Ms. Crawford. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, like sign. Motion carries. I move to the appointments of Historic Preservation Commission. Mr. Callender?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. proposed for appointment to the Historic Preservation Commission for council's consideration. It is the reappointment of Elizabeth Jones, the current chair, and Caitlin Stubbs.
We know her. Is there any discussion, any questions? I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
I have a motion to approve by Mr. Gregory. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Bradley. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Moving to the North Midland Avenue streetscape, Mr. Bailey.
Thank you, sir. This is a request to increase our CIP budget from $30,000 to $90,000 for that section of North Midland Avenue that sits outside of where Potluck and that little section of businesses are, where it looks like a, I don't know, a safety cone display right now, where the sidewalk has been uneven for years, and we've done surveys, marked the right-of-way. We've got a design that's attached in here to basically clean that up. We do that in-house. We'll get an easement from the property owner, and then they will actually take care of the maintenance in the future for us, which will sit on their property. But we're going to remove those trees, and then they'll maintain everything. So just requesting that increase because of the expense of the project itself.
Are there any questions for Mr. Bailey? I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Thank you, Mr. Gregory. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Malcolm. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Motion carries. That passes. Moving to the TAP grant project fee proposal, PI 001986. Mr. Bailey?
Thank you. If you try to keep up with it by the numbers, you'll get confused. So this is same thing as we brought to council last month for the McDaniel Street TAP project. This is for the TAP project that will take place on Davis, Madison, and Mears. It is the Phase 2 portion of that includes preliminary design and engineering, and then the right-of-way plans. It's with Thomas and Hutton. And the the request is for $336,659.16, of which grant funds will cover 80% of that. We will be eligible for reimbursement up to $269,000 of that, so only $67,000 will be our responsibility, and I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Are there any questions for Chris? I will entertain a motion, please.
Move to approve.
Thank you, Mr. Dickinson. Is there a second? Thank you, Mr. Gregory. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Motion carries. That passes. Moving to the sale of surplus vehicles and equipment. Mr. Bailey.
Thank you. Last one I've got. This is just the request to surplus the 14 vehicles that are attached on the page behind the cover page, obviously, and we'll use Gov Deals as we have in the past, and it helps us out, gets them off the insurance, gets them off the yard, gives us a little space, saves us a little money.
Are there any questions for Chris? I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Thank you, Mr. Bradley. Is there a second? Thank you, Ms. Sams. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Motion carries. That passes. Thank you, Chris. I'm not going to come back to you again tonight. Move into the PD. Chief Watts, quote for fence.
Thank you, Mayor. That's all I need is a fence. No, I'm bringing for council tonight a proposal to actually install a security fence around the side of our police department, around the back. Of course, you know, we're a 24/7 operation. And I know this is something we've been needing to do for some time, and we actually had an incident back on March 27th where one of my officers, when they were coming to the facility, there was a gentleman waiting behind the building up next to the wall and started throwing rocks towards him and his vehicle, which obviously is a safety concern, and this was during daylight hours. And so a lot of times during the night, our officers coming in and out of that facility, we would like to recommend the installation of a security fence. And we've gotten 3 quotes, and the cheapest quote that we have is the one for $89,000. This will be a solid metal fence, galvanized fence. I think it's like 6 to 8 foot tall. It will have an actual electric opening gates and everything. I know it has to meet code, and I'm not up to date on what it needs to do in order for it to be that, but that's what we're asking for $89,000.
Is that money coming from forfeited? SPLOST. Got it. Any questions for the chief?
I don't have a question, Mayor, but I do have, I guess, a comment that may turn into a question. So I can attest firsthand the importance of a need of a fence. As most of you know, I worked in law enforcement for a short time, and there was one night about 2:30 in the morning where I had got back to the PD, went to get something out of the back of my car, and got ambushed, fortunately, by a very sweet lady who was just trying to return a wallet, but it caught me completely off guard. And there's many stories like that. So there's no doubt that 100% there needs to be a fence around the PD, and probably 3 years ago. My only question is, have we considered with the local economic development that's happened in the area to make sure that it is all kosher as far as operational efficiency with new road cuts and all of that stuff? And if not, then I think it'd be wise to 100% move forward with a fence, no doubt in my mind, but also try to make sure that we are being considerate of the area and,
Yeah,
how we're gonna
this
make that
would be more on the back toward Hammond. That wouldn't infringe on that property at all, correct? I'm looking at you, chief.
Me?
Yes, sir.
I think it's going to look beautiful.
Yeah, no, I think, and you're
No,
right.
but I mean the location.
Yes, that's correct. It's on the backside. That's right.
You want to make a motion?
My letters,
I don't think he's making a motion.
That sounds like a motion to approve.
Greg, can you hear me?
Yes.
Are you making a motion for this, or is that some background noise?
I'm sorry, that's background noise.
Gotcha.
I was gonna just vote for it, but I'll turn this off and let somebody make a motion.
Understood. I want to make sure this gets expedited and done as quickly as possible, because like I said, it should have been done probably when the facility was built. But how can we put in a stipulation to ensure that this fence is, works well with all the other things that we have moving in that area? Is there a way to do that without tabling the vote?
You have a visual of what that is? I see the description here, Chief, of.
Yeah, I was actually texting Paul Roberts, seeing if he showed me pictures of past projects. I mean, this is going to be the top tier of a galvanized fence, and he showed me, like I said, pictures. It looks better than, because originally we were thinking maybe a chain link with the black vinyl so you can't see through. This will be a solid fence where nobody can actually look through to the back of the facility. It would not be able to be climbed or scaled. I guess I should have done a better job and got you some good pictures to kind of give you an idea of what I'm looking at, but he does quality work, and I think it will look professional. I think it will absolutely match what I've heard about on the Blaine Street project to be incorporated with it. Of course, we're talking about doing, landscaping with it, as well.
Any other questions? Do we need to review it and table it? Do we want to discuss it with Brad?
And I want to make it clear, I don't want to hold it up. That's not my goal, because it
Right.
is super necessary. Is there any way, if we make the motion with
Yeah, we need it in,
an asterisk that before purchasing it, we just make sure that everything is kosher as far as layout?
Condition it with the plans.
Sir?
Condition it with the plans.
Yeah.
Current proposed plans.
Yeah, is that?
I think we can probably do that.
Yeah, we just coordinate everything through all of that.
I'll say it's internal, and I know Chief's a good.
And then we'll be able to move forward with it.
Yeah.
And get it built.
If that's the case, and correct me, Logan or Paul, if I'm using these words incorrectly, but I will move to approve the item number 33, the fence for the police department. What's the right word? Yeah, I guess with the condition that it is in accordance with the current plan that we have for that general area.
All right, so the condition, the issue is on the aesthetics, I guess, right?
Well, it's aesthetics and functionality and setbacks to make sure that it's kosher with, you know, the through roads that we're trying to cut in eventually, and things of that nature. Sorry to throw everybody a curveball.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I mean, it's just, if the aesthetics is what you're going for, well, it sounds like placement also. I mean, I know everybody knows it's going to be in the back there, right?
Yeah.
And not interfering with the other economic development stuff.
Well, and based off the description provided by Chief Watts, for me, it's not so much of an aesthetics thing as much as it is just a functional piece that it works in conjunction with neighboring development.
Perhaps we could do it this way. Maybe if you're willing to amend your motion, maybe this would work, that your motion to approve the expenditure of the $89,000 to install a security fencing at the rear of the police department. It's coordination with the Blaine Station Economic Development Project immediately to the south of the police department.
What he said.
Can I? Okay. What Paul said, I'd like to make a motion using his words on the record.
I have a motion on the floor by Mr. Bradley to approve the fence based on the conditions of what the city attorney has said. Can I take a second, please?
I second that.
Thank you, Mr. Dickinson. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Motion carries. That passes. Thank you. Back to you, Chief, for the incinerator.
Yes, sir. So again, we're bringing before council tonight seeking approval for the purchase of an evidence incinerator. What this is, you know, when we moved to our current location, one of the problems we had when we were at our past location was our evidence room was overwhelmed with evidence. And we got over 500,000 pieces of evidence in our current evidence room right now. And so it's a process in order for us to purge all that out. We have to go through destruction orders. That means old cases that have been adjudicated or even found property. These officers and detectives have to go in there and take a box of evidence, the ability to destroy that evidence. And currently we're using Walton County's, and so we have to get on their schedule when we can use their incinerator to do this. And so just trying to help expedite what we're trying to do to keep from being overwhelmed with the amount of evidence we have, and then increase our productivity in the destruction orders. We're seeking the purchase of a evidence incinerator to the cost of $33,200.
Thank you, Chief. What is the size of that? Thereabouts, not exact.
I mean,
is it like the size of this part of the room, or is it a?
You know, the one the county has is a pretty good size. It says on the, I guess you got it in your packet. It gives you the height, so 10.5 feet by 10 foot, 8 inches. So I mean, it's pretty big.
It also, I mean, I think if
And
I'm reading
5
this
foot
correct,
wide.
it'll fit under a 20 by 14 structure.
Right.
Yeah.
To keep it out of the elements.
Size of a small vehicle.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve.
A motion by Mr. Bradley to approve. Is there a second?
Without conditions.
Thank you, Ms. Sams. No conditions. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Motion carries. That passes. Moving to district items. Ms. Malcolm.
I don't have anything.
I do, I certainly appreciate Pastor Wright coming in, because that was the one thing that we had talked about the other night. Ms. Crawford. Ms.
Oh,
Crawford.
no, I don't have anything.
Right, thank you. Mr. Bradley.
No, sir, not tonight.
Ms. Sims. Ms. Brown. Mr. Gregory.
Still thankful for the way the city's taking care of Second Street and how nice that looks. I literally walked out there and thought, man, it looks like a golf course. I mean, a few exceptions, but it's pretty nice. Thank you.
And in addition, South Madison, where the warehouse was, looks outstanding. I know not in your district, but.
Well, and also Walker Drive, the takedown that was done there and dealing with the nuisance property, appreciated that.
All Public Works guys from the proclamation earlier, right?
Yeah, exactly. And then
Yeah.
also, you know, just the continued efforts to deal with the smell and situation over there, but it's going. Appreciate the continued effort.
Yeah,
Good.
Flows for sure. We're on it.
Thank you, Mr. Gregory. Mr. Thompson?
Have nothing in our district this time. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Mr. Dickinson?
Nothing further.
I only have two on mine tonight. We were notified, I think, this morning or yesterday, that Main Street America and Georgia Main Street has recertified the city of Monroe as an accredited program for 2026. So a lot of hands in play in that, but Sandy's leadership has just been great. I know she works really hard with Chris and our central services team as well, but our events are just second to none, and our downtown events are great. So anything that else I should say about that, Chris?
No, you mentioned my name, so I'm good.
That was deliberate. And the other thing, I had a meeting last week with Eddie Hood, who's the principal at Monroe area. All of the cluster principals, so we had Harmony, Monroe Elementary School, and Carver, brought them together with many local pastors, and in ways that we can better support the school, but he asked also how the school could better support us. We've talked about doing a couple of community cleanup days a year that the kids would do, and that includes all levels from kindergarten through 12th grade. So probably the elementary kids would be doing stuff around their particular schools, but the others would be directing their business right in town. So I appreciated his willingness to put together a group, and he said, look, we've had a lot given to us, and we think a lot should be expected of us, and he just wanted to go on record and say how much he appreciates you and appreciates our general public for the support that he gets. The other thing, we were awarded yesterday, Monroe Elementary School was awarded a Georgia Reads program, and that's the $20,000 grant that we got from Malcolm Mitchell that will be going to some mini libraries and some additional resources that the kids have been without for the last several years. Malcolm Mitchell was here, great guy, gave 350 books to MES. The other 350 are going to be going to Sharon Elementary, to Beth Morgan, because we want to expand this literacy development program in the county and then throughout the state, and it's gotten legs. We've gone from Monroe Elementary reading at 20% on grade level in third grade in 2022 to becoming a literacy leader in 2024 to being recognized as among the best in 2026. So thank you, Ms. Sams, thank you, Ms. Brown, both on that committee, and just a great group. So we're lucky lucky to be recognized by somebody who's not in the school system, and that Malcolm didn't play favorites. Even if he did score the last touchdown in his game against the Gators, I forgave him yesterday. Said it got him his wife's phone number, and they dated that night and have been married ever since. So that being said, I need a motion to adjourn to executive session. We do have an executive session that should take just a little bit tonight. So I'll need a motion, please.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Bradley. Is there a second? Thank you, Mr. Gregory. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Meeting adjourned to executive session. Thanks, Tommy. Good to see you. Hey, Tom.